Assalamalaikum and a very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So, welcome to yet another episode of Perceptive Learning Zone, where today we are going to be discussing a sample diagram report, which is a prerequisite of IELTS Academic Writing Task 1. So, let's get to the basics of it. I've shared my screen. Hope you all can view it successfully. So let us look over here. We have a diagram. So this is a past paper question, came in the past, right? So we basically got a geothermal power plant over here. And as you can see, there is something happening over here, okay? Just let me zoom it out a tad bit. So we basically have cold water at the surface that is probably going through a reservoir down underground through a pipeline of possibly with a depth of 4.5 kilometers to the injection well from where it travels to the geothermal zone, that is hot rocks that exchange heat energy, the heat transfer process, hence heating up the water. And from the production well, this hot water is pumped up, presumably through a tank, where it goes into a condenser, which condenses this hot water into steam. The steam turns the turbine turns the generator produces electricity, which is then sent to the transformers, right? A basic process which has been covered in detail for a lot of you guys back in your O levels in physics, especially. So, what is its implication in regards to IELTS report writing? So let's read the question before we try to delve into how to answer this, right? So the question says that the diagram above shows how geothermal energy is used to produce electricity. So you got to summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. So as we said before, as I said before in the last time we discussed report writing, that the first paragraph comprises of two things. The first is the introduction. So the introduction in the scenario of report writing is primarily concerned with paraphrasing the background question statement. So what is a background question statement? This is the background question statement. So let's rewrite it in our own words. So instead of the diagram, I wrote schematic. Instead of shows, we chose to write illustrates. How geothermal energy is to produce electricity. So the process by which geothermal energy is utilized in the generation of electricity. You can take one or two words as it is, but don't copy paste. Okay, you need to paraphrase it in your own words. So this is me having successfully paraphrased the background question statement, right? The schematic illustrates the process by which geothermal energy is utilized in the generation of electricity. Okay, now next time we come to the overview. That is, what is the overall understanding, right? What is the main picture that we're extracting from this? Okay, so what we see is one, they've even numbered it for us. Okay, it's not easy, right? Two, injection well, three, production well, four, condenser, five, generator turbine. So in total, overall, we see five steps that are being involved in the generation of electricity at this geothermal power plant from start to finish. So that is what I chose to write in my overview, that overall, there are five steps in the process, starting from pumping down cold water into the geothermal zone to producing electricity from the generator, which is then sent into the electrical grid, aka the transformers. Okay, so this is the first paragraph, introduction, overview, done and dusted with. Then this entire detail that we talked about, right? Cold water goes down, hot rocks, condenser, steam, electricity in the electricity produced by the generator goes to the turbine. These are the details which come in second paragraph. That is very go in depth. The body paragraph very give detailed descriptive information. So in the first step, it says, in the first step, cold water is pumped down 4.5 kilometers underground via or through the injection well. Next, the water is injected into the geothermal zone where hot rocks heat the water up as it passes through the earth. Thermal energy always flows from a high temperature medium to a low temperature medium. Once the water has been heated up, it enters a production well and is then pumped up to the ground into the condenser. The last two stages are carried out above ground at the power plant. First of all, steam is produced from the hot water in the condenser. In the following step, the steam passes into the turbine and makes it spin. Finally, the generator, which is powered by the turbine, produces electricity, where it is then transferred to the electric grid or the transformers via the or through the power lines. So the word limit of this sample report is 187 words. Okay, so you don't need to write minimum 150. One between 150 to 200 is fine. More than that, time management becomes a bit difficult. So let's read this question one more time, right? This was the diagram of the geothermal power plant, which you have just attempted. It's very simple. Once you get the grip of it, I request you all to practice as much as possible. And obviously, just to reach out to me if you have any queries, if there's anything you don't understand, okay? So let's read out this question one more time. The diagram above shows how geothermal energy The diagram above shows how geothermal energy is used to produce electricity. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. So let's begin our answer. Paragraph 1. The schematic illustrates the process by which geothermal energy is utilized in the generation of electricity. Overall, there are 5 steps in the process, starting from pumping down cold water into the geothermal zone to producing electricity from the generator, which is then sent into the electrical grid. Then comes the second paragraph. In the first step, cold water is pumped down 4.5 kilometers underground via the injection well. Next, the water is injected into the geothermal zone, where hot rocks heat the water up as it passes through the earth. Thermal energy always flows from a high temperature medium to a low temperature medium. It's fine if you don't write this down anyways. Once the water has been heated up, it enters a production well and is then pumped up into the ground and into the condenser. The last 2 stages are carried out above ground at the power plant. First of all, steam is produced from the hot water in the condenser. In the following step, the steam passes into the turbine and makes it spin. Finally, the generator, which is powered by the turbine, produces electricity where it is then transferred into the electric grid via power lines. And obviously, like I told you before, folks, you don't write a conclusion when it comes to report writing. So this is pretty much the basic template as far as diagram reports are concerned. In the upcoming sections, we'll be talking about furthermore types of reports like map reports, table reports, pie chart, bar charts. Obviously, the underlying principle is the same. So stay tuned. Thank you very much for watching. You guys have a lovely time. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.